The man burst into the warehouse, but the guard turned out to be a kangaroo, and he stood no chance. Despite this, he did not give up, but waited until the kangaroo had fallen asleep, then slipped in quietly. But the kangaroo was hot on his heels, picking up a spade and attacking him fiercely. However, the spade was split in two. With no other choice, he had to hand the spade over to the kangaroo. The kangaroo bent the spade with ease, rendering it useless. The next moment, a flurry of punches and kicks ensued. The man was knocked to the ground, but having been stranded on the moon for a month, he desperately needed the food in the warehouse. Then an idea struck him. He donned a female kangaroo costume and began to sway in front of the kangaroo. The kangaroo fell for the trick. It fell in love and began to chase him. But during the chase, the man's mask slipped off. The kangaroo flew into a rage and once again beat him mercilessly. In the chaos, the man picked up a gun from the ground and fired several shots. But even so, he could not overcome it. Eventually, he lost consciousness. At that very moment, communication with Earth was restored for a few seconds. The man heard a sound coming from the communicator. He desperately called for help, but the signal cut out again. The man collapsed to the ground, but the kangaroo ceased its attack. Both stared at the ground and decided to work together to return. There was an escape pod at the base, but its power had run out. They needed a missile. The man decided to go to another base to look for one. He set off in a solar-powered vehicle. He had to make the round trip before sunset. It was a very long journey. After several days of traveling, they arrived at another base and found the missile. The man warned the kangaroo not to touch anything, but it was too late. The kangaroo pressed a button and an alarm immediately sounded. The man immediately took cover, but soon realized it was merely a system test designed to prevent malfunctions. He locked the kangaroo in the rear compartment, strapped the missile to the vehicle, and set off on the return journey. But along the way, the trailer came loose. The man didn't notice, and the kangaroo was left behind. After driving for a while, he got out of the car and only then realized what had happened. But the sun was about to set. If he went back to find the kangaroo, he wouldn't arrive at the base on time. He was torn. Meanwhile, the kangaroo thought they had abandoned him. After some hesitation, the man made his decision. He turned back to find it. He drove at top speed, found the trailer, and the kangaroo excitedly leapt into his arms. They returned to the vehicle together and continued on toward the base. They drove for 53 hours straight, but still hadn't arrived. Finally, night fell. The solar-powered vehicle had run out of energy. They were forced to switch to the battery, but there was very little power left. To make matters worse, the lunar surface was bitterly cold at night. The man began to shiver. The temperature inside the vehicle plummeted to -40 degrees. Just as they were about to arrive, the battery ran out, and the vehicle came to a halt. The man was overcome with despair. He thought it was all over, but the kangaroo did not give up. It hoisted the man onto its back and began to run across the lunar surface. They crossed canyons. They glided across the ground and finally succeeded in bringing the missile back to base.